everybody, welcome to Poetic Liberty. Today we're going to be reviewing the book that I bought at the bookstore randomly, the yellow book, if you remember from the last video, which was Yaa Gyasi's Homegoing. This was such a riveting read. It was, I really enjoyed it. I read it in about 3 sittings, spaced over maybe 5 days or 4 days, 5 days, about 5 days. And I actually was prolonging and delaying myself deliberately when I saw that I was close to finishing, because it was just that good and I didn't want it to end. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where will I get a book as good as this? It was that book. This is that book, this book. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to try and do this without putting in as many spoilers. I'll try and do it, make sure that it's as spoiler free, though there'll be a little bit here and there, just enough to entice you to go and read this book. That being said, this book follows 2 half-sisters, Effia and Essie, who are half-sisters by virtue of this. They have the same mother but different fathers, and one sister is raised by her mother and father, and the other one is raised by her stepmother and father. And that's the one who's raised by her stepmother and father is Effia, and her stepmother is really cruel to her. So she's mean and she beats her a lot. She has it really rough, and her stepmother doesn't see it fit for her to marry one of the, the village heroes or the village champs or the village brave guys. She doesn't want that for her. She wants her to go as far away as possible, and so she realizes the furthest she can go is if she's married to a British soldier. And that's exactly what happens. So Effia gets married off to a soldier, and she ends up staying at the Cape Coast Castle. And now on the other side is Essie, who grows up well and she's looking forward to life and all that. But in an unfortunate twist of events, there's a raid and she's captured and she becomes a slave. So she's also taken to the Cape Coast Castle, and where she stays in the dungeons as a slave with other people. So here is 2 sisters. I really loved how the writer did this, how she put there the 2 sisters. One is in the dungeon, the other one is upstairs in the same place. One is sort of quote unquote living the life, the other one is just wading in the, So it's interesting to note how she points out that Effia has a feeling that they're slaves down there, and she hears whispers. However, she doesn't do anything about it. She doesn't go and investigate. She doesn't let her curiosity get the best of her. That sounds familiar. That sounds like many things that we do as human beings. Like, maybe in 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers from your house, there's an informal settlement, there's a slum, or there are homeless people somewhere that you pass, but you don't want to go there, you don't want to look, not because you're afraid of what they would do to you, but actually what it would do to you seeing that. You're afraid to break your own heart by seeing certain misery. And that is a human problem that I guess it shows that it's not a new thing. It's a thing that has happened. Like, you try to live an unassuming life, like you're not going to think about the problems that are out there. You'll just live in your little, you live like an ostrich with your head in the sand because you can't bear it. It's unfortunate that we do that a lot. And this book, made me think about that, and I was like, yeah. So the book follows, each chapter follows the different descendants of the 2 sisters. Obviously, Essie's taken to America as a slave, and she then has her generation, her descendants, and similarly for Effia. So each chapter goes between the Ghanaian descendant, the American descendant. The Ghanaian, it's a lovely twist. I love how it's a twist, and I like how she closes each chapter well. Like the characters have there's good closure for me with each of the characters. And the other thing that I really liked was how she pointed out, and I think it's something that we have to think about sometimes when you think about colonialism or slavery, you think, okay, it's the white man's fault. But it shows a very interesting power play, how the Fanti and the Asante were already at loggerheads. And the British came to just, you guys don't like these guys, so why don't you join us and we'll help you finish them. So it makes you think, what if we were more united? Would it have been harder for colonization or slavery to have happened? What if? And are we united now? Are we united as tribes or as countries or as a race to be able to withstand the things, the odds that are stacked against us? You know, you think of the endless possibilities that could have happened as a result, but at the same time you're like, well, we don't know. This is what we have now. And again, it's a piece that shows the dilemma of the black people, especially the black people in America. Everything is against you, but at the same time, if you come back to Africa, where do you go? When you trace your ancestry, you're a quarter Cameroonian, a quarter Ghanaian, a quarter what? So if you choose one of the countries, where do you go? Who will be your people? What's the culture there? So it shows the predicament of how, you know, there's an off balance, and how there's a discombobulation of the black race. They're in limbo in whichever way you look at it. And I like how the book generally shows how some things never stop. Slavery was abolished, then there was the civil rights, the black people not having their civil rights, and it goes on, there's segregation, it goes on. And however, what I would have liked her to do a little bit more is show the continuity of this in the African continent, by way of Ghana. She didn't do that as much, but however, it was such a beautiful read. I hope that you guys will pick it up, and I hope this was as spoiler-free as it can get. I love this book. Please, 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 if you can, this is a book you must read. Anyway, this is Poetic Liberty, and I'm Rosie. I hope you enjoyed. Happy New Year. Bye. Hi guys, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.